Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Monster vs. Monster here on the D&D CR Exposed YouTube channel. I'm Andrew, and I'll be your announcer, commentator, and monster battler for tonight's game. Thank you so much for joining us as we take a look at this crazy battle here that was sent to me by a viewer in my Google Forms. And if you'd also like to influence the Monster vs. Monster games, you can do so in the link in the description below. There is one there for my Google Forms, and you can submit an episode. And what are we going on today? Well, it looks like the realms of heaven and hell are battling it out today. And the way this setup is looking, in the map we have here, it looks like maybe the levels of hell are amassing troops, and to get ahead of it and try and squash whatever uprising is happening, the realm of the angels and the celestial worlds are coming in to stop and smite this from happening already. And if anyone has seen a previous episode where we had the angels versus some, what was it? I can't remember their names. It was a previous live stream. We had a couple of these angels already. We have Remiel and Kakabel from a previous episode who are joined by another angel, Arakiel. And these three angels are going to be battling it out against the three the three demons here. We have ourselves a Baylor of Berzerith, Garzan the Nalfeshni, and Droken the Nabasu. Yes, Herr Doctor, I think it may have been those darn warlocks as well that, failed to close a portal to the realms of hell that they mistakenly opened up. So this may be a good, it was some kind of aberrations. Star spawns or something like that. Yes, it was versus the star spawns. Thank you, Evil Lord Gravy. And, so we have ourselves some angels versus demons fight. And to, not to belabor the point any further, now that we have introduced our sides for tonight's battle, let's roll initiative and get into round one. We'll take care of the business after the fact. So, initiative time. Let's see what our D20s give us here. And it has us with Remiel going first, followed by Droken, then Kakabel, come on, there we go, Berzerith, Arakiel, and Garzan. And this will be our initiative order for the remainder of the combat. So with that, let us begin combat. And Remiel is up first. So let's go ahead and zoom in on Remiel and take a look at what Remiel can do and their stats. So Remiel is a Deva, has a healing touch, multi-attack of, 2 mace swings, has the ability to change shape, which isn't going to help us here as we've already gone into battle, magic resistance, and angelic weapons, which are already applied to the weapon in the weapon in effect here, the mace. Deva also has a spellbook of Commune, Raise Dead, and Detect Evil and Good, which are pretty much pointless. So our Deva is just going to fly right in. And if we double check some of our demons here, do they have the ability to fly? We do have flying with our Baylor of 80 feet. Droken here can fly for 60, and the Nalfeshni can also fly. So flying is pretty much pointless here. So with that, our Deva Remiel here is going to fly in at 90 feet and see what he can do. Maybe just jump right in and start attacking. Well, it doesn't look like that'll be the case, so Remiel is going to fly up. We'll say he goes over to here just to, distract some stuff. Goes 90 feet off to the side here and goes on a dodge action, waiting to, attack for next round. So we'll apply dodge to Remiel, and that will be the end of Remiel's turn here on round one. Next up is Droken, our Nabasu, was it? Yes, the Nabasu. Now, our Nabasu here has no spellbook, so we have nothing to worry about. Actually, the magic is all one-sided here, and our magic users are all the angels this time. None of our, demons have a spellbook. But we do have a couple things going on. We have magic resistance. We have Devour Soul, which in case the Nabasu kills someone, they can devour an angelic soul here. We also have Demonic Shadows, which means, the area around its body is 10-foot radius is just basically in darkness, which is cool. And then also has Soul-Stealing Gaze, which anything within 30 feet has to make a charisma save or take some necrotic damage, have their maximum health reduced, and then it also receives half that health back and a multi-attack of 1 bite, 1 claw, and that's soul-stealing gaze. Now, this is a new monster to me. I've never seen a Nabasu before, so it'll be interesting to see what this looks like, and maybe at some point later I can check that CR to see if it's really a 15. I know some fiends have resistance to damage types. The question is, do they even matter? We do have damage immunities to poison, and then cold, fire, and lightning, and anything to bludgeoning, piercing, slashing from non-magical attacks. Now, for this purpose, I believe Remiel's mace is regular. It's a standard mace. But we do have the radiant damage on here, so it'll be like 3/4 damage from the mace at least, and probably any of the other angels as well. I'm sure they also have angelic weapons. So Droken can fly, and Droken can fly 60 feet. Let's see, is Remiel close enough for Droken to get to? Just close enough. Look at that. So Droken's going to just and just mad dash over to Remiel and go in for the attack. It's pretty fitting that medium versus medium here would have the first encounter here. So with that, let's go ahead and target Remiel and start our attacks with a bite, a claw, and then the soul-stealing gaze, as it were. All right, bite number 1 from onto Remiel here. That's going to be a base 11 total of 22 to hit, which does hit. And look at all those D12s, 48 points of damage from the bite. That is obscene. And we're looking at just all necrotic damage coming from a CR 15 monster. There's a lot of non-magical attack resistance going on around, actually. That's very true. Let's take a look quick at the Deva's attributes here. They have damage resistance to radiant and attacks that are not magical. And just to verify, the attack went right through, since this was all just necrotic damage. So this is going to be interesting. I thought maybe the angels were going to be a little one-sided here, but the demons with that kind of attack may actually pull off the win here. We'll see what happens in a moment as we switch to the claw attack for attack number 2 on Remiel. Now, Remiel is on a dodge action, so that's going to be a base 4 total of 15, missing Remiel's AC of 17, and there's no damage from the attack. And just to finish off the attack here, we'll go ahead and use that soul-stealing gaze against Remiel. So, that's going to be a total of 10 points of necrotic damage, and Remiel succeeds the charisma check of DC 16 going on here with a total of 21. So, let's see, what do we got going on here? Well, the necrotic damage is reduced in half from 10 to 5, and then the target, let's see here, equal to the necrotic, let's see. I'm looking for the target dies. Okay, if the target must succeed on a DC saving throw or take necrotic damage, the target's hit point maximum is reduced by the amount equal to the necrotic damage dealt, and the Nabasu regains hit points equal to that amount, half that amount. This reduction lasts until the target finishes a long rest. The target dies, and so on and so forth. So it looks like even with the charisma save, we are still going to have to reduce the angel's hit points by 5. So we're going to say 131 there. And then our Nabasu recovers 2 hit points, but can't recover hit points because it's already healed up. Let's see here. So I have some fiends have resistance to damage types. Yeah. There's a lot of non-magical attacks. Yeah, no, the non-attack for sure, because screw marshals apparently. Exactly, and that will end Droken's turn, and we will move on to Kakabel. Okay, so let's just get rid of the targeting there, just for the sake of it, and move on to Kakabel here, who is going to do, dispel evil and good on himself. Now, the interesting thing, as I was looking up this spell here, is that a shimmering energy surrounds and protects you from Fae, undead, and creatures originating from beyond material planes. So for this instance, fiends and so on will have disadvantage attacks against the planetar. So we're going to go ahead and use an action to cast that on the self, and then he'll move up and deal with whatever he has to do. So targeting himself, just in case we need to, he's going to dispel good and evil, consume the ability, casting the spell, and I don't know why he had to roll that. I don't know what's going on here. I think this is one of those deals where technically it has to fail in order to win. Oh, I see. All right, so regardless, he is now covered in Dispel Evil and Good and will have disadvantage from any attacks coming from the fiends. And we'll move in How far can he move? 120 feet. Wait, it never says that you talk half on a success. Take half on a success, does it? No, it didn't. So maybe, yeah, I guess it didn't actually deal damage. So it must be one of those sucker save things. All right, so we'll go ahead and fix that then. Thank you. We'll put that back to 136. And there was no damage dealt except for the well, no, because it says, yeah, so I guess he shouldn't have taken any damage. Succeed on that or take damage. And then takes that. So yeah, he shouldn't take any damage at all. So we'll go ahead and revert the damage from that attack. So 5 points back. And we're good there from the Soul Stealing Gaze. Yes, thank you, Evil Lord Gravy. That was super helpful. All right, so Kakabel has used his action to protect himself from evil and good. They all have that to deal with. So that's 70 feet up to there. Kakabel is moving up. And yeah, why not? We'll just have him go and stand threateningly in front of Burzoth, who's going to have to move up as well. Because, you know, Baylor's got that whole fire aura thing going on. And the fire aura, how far is that out? The fire aura is within 5 feet. Okay, so I'll have to remember that. 5 feet. So we'll make sure he definitely doesn't go too close in. And what is the range on the greatsword? Is it more than 5 feet? No, they have to go right into 5 feet. Okay. So that's going to be Kakabel's turn. Kakabel is not going any further than that for the time being, as he sizes up the opponents he's dealing with. Up next is Berzereth, our Baylor, and sure enough, Berzereth is just going to, you know, typical Baylor demon, and just go right in after Kakabel. Doesn't matter about flying because everything here can fly. So, what do we got going on here? We have magic weapons, which are fine, magic resistance, fire aura, death throws, multi-attack, and a teleport. So, our multi-attack is 2 attacks, one with its longsword and one with its whip. Now, if I remember my battle tactics correctly, or the how to play a Baylor, the whip should go first, because that means it could probably, you know, trick Kakabel. Yeah, exactly. Exactly, Herr Doctor. So, we're going to go ahead and go in for the whip attack first, and attack Kakabel, which is going to be a base 2, even though it is at disadvantage. I forgot to roll. Let's just roll that one more time just to see what would have happened. Actually, we won't, because that was a 2, and a miss doesn't matter at this point. So the whip misses, and that could have been a pull. Yes, could have pulled Kakabel 25 feet closer, so we don't have to worry about that. And then we swap over to the longsword, and the longsword swipe comes in, which, okay, base 8, hits Kakabel. Let me roll that one more time. I'm going to revert that real quick, and I forgot to roll at disadvantage. 11 still hits. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to revert that first amount of damage and apply the 43, even though it was only 2 points of damage, and Berzereth, excuse me, hits Kakabel with its magical energy sword. And not a lightsaber, an energy sword, because it's a long sword with force damage rolling through it. And that will be Berzereth's turn. I believe that is everything else Berzereth can do. All right, up next is Arakiel, who is going to also, could cast the, Dispel Evil and Good as well, or could do a Blade Barrier if need be, and maybe control the Nalfeshni. We could do something like that with Garzan, or help out someone else. More than likely, let's see here, what do we got? Invisibility, Detect, Resurrection, nothing super helpful. Healing Touch, Searing Burst. Solar emits magical divine energy. Each creature of its choice in a 10-foot radius must make a DC 23 Dex save. That could be fun. 2 legendary actions. Oh, geez, it's a legendary creature. Okay, totally forgot about that part. We have 3 legendary actions. Anything else here legendary? Just so I verify. Okay, the Baylor is not. Nalfeshni, I don't believe, is as well. So just our Solar. And what are our other things that can be done here? Teleport, Searing Burst, and Blinding Gaze. So let's see here. Before the end of the Baylor's turn, maybe we'll do a teleport and move in. 120 feet? Yeah, let's totally do that. Let's see here. Does that require... That's a good question. It might need a concentration check, even though it technically didn't land. Yes, it is concentration, so yeah, we will have to definitely roll that. So, 43 points of damage divided in half will be 21, so we'll make a Constitution save there. Thank you again for pointing that out. And let's see here. Concentration, where are you at? Okay, saving throw. There we go. Okay, so that's going to be a total of 24 and definitely passes the concentration check of a 21. So, still holding on to the protection or that one spell there, and we move on to Arakiel, who uses, before his turn, at the end of the Baylor's turn, a teleport. And will teleport 120 feet. And because of, why not? It's going to totally just move over to here, teleport in, and then start its turn. So, teleports in right at the end of the Baylor's turn, and totally, starts its turn here. So it's going to have to take the little bit of damage from the Baylor here. So let's go ahead and target Arakiel for starting his turn next to the Baylor. And then we will do the, I don't know if it's going to be here. Teleport? No. Okay. So I'll have to do it like this. Features and the Fire Aura. Okay, so at the start of each turn, let's see here. What is it? Oh, they just take damage. Okay. So 3d10. And Arakiel takes 11 points of fire damage. Now, are they resistant to fire or immune? No, they are not. So, he's going to take 11 points of fire damage, which is really nothing. It's just a little scratch. And Arakiel goes in for the flank attack against Berzerith. And let's see here. What do we got going on for features? Well, we have our multi-attack. We have a flying sword. Oh yeah, that's cool. I forgot about that. The Solar makes 2 great sword attacks or a slaying longbow. Yeah, that'll be something for little later on here to start evening the odds. So we'll go in for 2 great sword attacks and see what happens against Berzerath. Or Berzerith, excuse me. Okay. Attack number 1. Great sword. That's going to be a natural 20. Don't even have to worry about the advantage attack. And hits for a total of 35, dealing 100 points of damage on the first swing. I don't know who's going to win this one, folks. This is obscene, the amount of damage that's being thrown around here. This is ridiculous. Attack number 2 from Arakiel. Add advantage for flanking. We have a base 15, total of 30 to hit, and another heavy swing for 47 points of damage. Almost bleeding, almost setting the Baylor into a bloodied condition here. And then that will be the end of Arakiel's turn. Fresh legendary action, so let's take a look quick at what else our Solar can do. We have Blinding Gaze, Searing Burst, and Teleport. So the Searing Burst will probably end up being the best one here. The Solar emits a magical divine energy that each creature of its choice within a 10-foot radius must make a 23 dex save, or we could do the Blinding Gaze. And the Blinding Gaze is one creature can see within 30 feet of it. If the target can see it, the target must succeed on a con save or be blinded. The Searing Burst may be the better way to go here. We'll see what happens. Exactly. Holy Wow and Holy Bonk for sure. That critical hit was on point. Very on point. Okay, so Arakiel's turn is done as the Solar moves on, and we move on to the bottom of round 1 with Garzan. And let's just take another look at what Garzan can do. Well, we have Horror Nimbus, which is charged currently and emits a magical magically emits scintillating multicolored lights. Each creature within 15 feet of the Nalfeshni that can see the lights must succeed on a wisdom save or be frightened. Well, if that works, we'll be surprised. And then we use the Horror Nimbus first, and then it can make 3 attacks, 1 bite and 2 claws. So, pretty straightforward, and why not have the, let's see here. They're evil, right? We got chaotic evil. Not really so much worried about lawful evil, but they do want to kind of gang up. So Gargazan is probably going to move to here first. Let's see, how far can he fly? 30 feet. Oh, can only go 30 feet. All right, so then that's going to be easy enough. We're going to go 30 feet, 25 feet to here. Use the first part of the multi-attack. That blind just doesn't wear off. Probably not. Let's take a look here. Does it wear off? For 1 minute. A creature can repeat the saving throw at the end of each of its turns, ending the effect on itself in a success. If the creature saving throw is successful, the effect ends it, and the creature is immune for 24 hours. So, the blind is... Oh, no, that was the frightened, not the blind from the Solar. I'll have to take a look at that one. That was blinding gaze here. Yeah, no, you're just blind with blinding gaze. That's it. Goodness. All right, well, Gargazan is going to come in and start the attack off with its scintillating, multicolored ray of lights here and go in for that first attack with the Horror Nimbus. Yeah, there you go. Thank you, Evil Lord Gravy. All right, so we're going to go with the Horror Nimbus on our Solar friend, Arakiel. And sadly, there's no special effects here, and the Horror Nimbus has a DC Wisdom save of 15, and Arakiel succeeds with a 23, avoiding the scintillating, multicolored light show that just comes from this weird Nalfeshni's, hands and mouth, who knows. And then moves up the rest of the way 5 more feet to finish off its flight and goes in for the attack of, what was it? One bite and 2 claws. So we'll go ahead and hit that bite. Yeah, because F you in particular. And this will also be flanking because of, we've got ourselves a daisy chain here of freaking melee and going for that bite at advantage. So it looks like, I guess that was a critical, and we have a total of 30 to hit with a total of 53 points of damage on Arakiel, our Solar. Goes in then, follows up with 2 claw attacks at advantage again for a claw attack. Looks like base 18 for a total of 28, dealing 15 points of slashing damage, which is actually reduced in half since our weapons aren't magical. Ooh, that's not so good for the Nalfeshni. And then another, flanked attack, base 17, total of 27, dealing another 20 points of damage, but reduced in half to 10. So that is Gargazan's turn. And at the end of Gargazan's turn, before we move on, Arakiel is going to use his ability to Searing Burst. So we're going to go ahead and do the Searing Burst legendary action here, which I don't know if we have that ability right here. Let's get rid of the targeting. There we go. And those are spells. Perfect. Searing Burst. Here we go. So, Searing Burst, consume resources. I'm not going to worry about consuming the resources. And we're going to use the template to affect both of these. Okay. So, with that, we have our Searing Burst. The Solar emits a magical divine energy. All creatures make a dex saving throw of, DC 23. And then they are dealt 4d6 fire and radiant damage. Oh, I guess it's, Oh, okay. Well, whatever. He'll hit himself. He is not immune to most of the damage here. But, we do have... Let's see here. Okay, so Searing Burst goes off. DC 23 dex save. Arakiel fails with a 12. Gargazan fails with a 14. And Berzereth fails with a 16. Okay, so it didn't roll the damage, which is a little annoying. Let me double check that real quick, in case I use this once again. Yeah, it didn't do the damage. That's really odd that that wasn't imported or added in there. So we'll do 4d6 fire and 4d6 radiant. Where are you hiding, Radiant? There you are. Saving throw default, dex save 23, perfect. Okay, so let me just go ahead and roll those out. So we'll have 46 there for our fire damage. So we have 11 fire damage there, and radiant damage. 11 there. Okay, so just so I'm aware, we are immune to radiant damage. It takes no radiant damage there, but takes a little bit of fire damage. And we're going to take 11 points of fire damage since he kind of blasted himself with it. And then let's take a look at our demons here. They are resistant to fire, but not to radiant. So this one is going to take 16 points of damage. So 16 points there. And our demon, Baylor, is not immune to... Oh, no, immune to fire. All right, so it takes 11 points of radiant damage. Okay. Now that we have that sorted out, hopefully next time I use that, it won't be as big of a deal. And we'll just subtract 11 there. Perfect. All right, so a little bit of damage spread all around. No big deal. Arakiel's not too worried about it. Still feeling all right. And that ends Garzan's turn. We go back to the top with Remiel for round 2. And Remiel doesn't have much to go on here, so Remiel's just for the fun of it. Let's get rid of that because I was on the token things again. Is going to shift 5 feet and then go in and attack our little demon, flying demon here, Droken. And he can go and do the multi-attack of, what was it? 2 mace attacks, right? All right, so mace attack number 1. And that will be a base 15 to hit, total of 23 points of damage, 23 to hit, 19 points of radiant damage, and some bludgeoning damage as well, and then goes in for a second attack. Yeah, that's what I was thinking, Evil Lord Gravy, but wasn't very clear. Yeah, meanwhile, off to the side. Alright, mace attack, number 2, base 9 to hit, 17 total, misses Droken, and Remiel may not survive this attack. We'll see what happens here, since Remiel is not bloodied yet, but is about to be, as we move on to Droken, whose turn it is next. And Droken is going to pivot again, just because, you know, why not? Trying to protect this lair of other demons. Maybe there's some kind of maybe there's a demon lord in the castle here that the demons are trying to protect as they are raising their forces up, and the angels are trying to stop them. Okay, so targeting Remiel, Droken pivots again. He's like, "Where are you going, angel?" And comes in for the attacks. Okay, first of all, I think I have to do a recharge. Nope, just a soul-stealing gaze, which is followed up at the end there. Okay, so we got a bite, a claw, and the multi-attacks. And just to remind myself what was going on here, we have 1 bite, 1 claw, and the soul-stealing gaze. Perfect. All right, so the bite attack goes off first. Remiel has no bonuses to him, and it's, see here, a base 17, total of 18. Goodness, 11 to hit, and hits Remiel for a total of 40 necrotic damage. Then comes up with a quick claw attack. Base 19 to hit, definitely hits with a 30, and that's going to be a total of 25 force damage. Oof, Remiel is definitely bloodied here, and then goes in for the soul-stealing gaze. All right, last hit, we have, let's see here, total of 7 necrotic damage. Remiel succeeds the gaze with a 24 and deals no damage to himself, or takes no damage, and Remiel is still standing, but just barely. I wasn't really thinking of that. It doesn't look too far up. I would say, you know, from the shadows, maybe 20 feet. But, yeah, I don't think Remiel's going to make it. Remiel's pretty much done for at this point, unless someone helps him out here. But we'll see what happens in a moment, now that Droken's turn is done. Up next, we have Cockabell, who is still maintaining his concentration on the spell, and goes in to attack Berzerith for a few big old greatsword attacks. So we have our, let's see here, angelic weapon, and the multi-attack of 2 greatsword attacks. And this is at advantage because of the flanking here that's going on, and we'll just go ahead and swing away once I get targeting correctly. Alright, Cockabell. 2 greatsword attacks at advantage because of flanking. We have a base 10, total of 22 to hit, which hits Berzerith for 52 points of damage and bloodies the Baylor. Also, Cockabell has to take some damage real quick from the Baylor's fire aura. And also, they have to take damage for hitting him. I forgot that as well. So, first off, we're going to roll for being within 5 feet. So that's going to be 11 points of fire damage. And then for hitting is going to be an additional 11 points of damage. So that's 22 points of fire damage right there. And I don't believe we have anything for fire damage resistances. So that's minus 22 there. And then Arakiel hit the Baylor, what was it, once? I think? Yeah, critically hit. Gotta double check real quick. Let's rewind a moment and go back to the Baylor hits. Yeah, those are 2 Baylor hits. So we're gonna roll those 2 more times for the damage on Arakiel as well, who does not have any fire resistance. Okay. So fire aura. Let's get 2 more of those going. And that's going to be another 18 points of fire damage on Arakiel. Okay. Another good hit, but we'll see what happens here as Cockabell gets a second swing against Berzerith. Let the kobold help the Celestials. If I had one set up, I would. All right. Last attack at advantage here. Remiel goes in for the attack. Base 18 to hit, 33 damage. Ooh, my goodness, that is a lot of dice. And that's going to be 59 points of slashing and radiant damage, as well as, let's see here, 9 more fire damage to Berzerith the Baelor. Or from the Baelor, excuse me, not to. Though the lore, it would probably help the Fiend since Tiamat's in here. In hell. Very true, yes. If we go with old school kobolds, then yeah, probably would be helping the demons. Alright, that ends Kakabel's turn, I believe. Although we do have one more action. We could teleport Arakiel. Let's see here real quick. What can he do with the spell book? And he has the Searing, the legendary actions, Searing Burst, Healing Touch. Yeah, why not? We're going to have, as Kakabel's turn finishes up, Arakiel's going to teleport using the last ability he has there, and comes over to here and teleports over to Remiel to go and do a heal next turn. So no more flanking on him, but we will see what happens with Berzerith, who starts his turn. Okay, so Berzerith can't really do too terribly much, but does have that Death Burst, and is just going to go ahead and make some attacks against, Kakabel. All right, so we're going to go ahead and switch our targeting over to here, and then make the first whip attack against Kakabel, who is attacking at disadvantage because of the Dispelling Good and Evil ability. So we attack at disadvantage against Kakabel, and that's going to be a base 2 and misses with a 16, unfortunately, with the whip, and then goes in for a longsword attack at disadvantage as well. Base 4, total of 18, and misses Kakabel again with an AC of 19. So basically, 4 or lower is the only way to miss with that much hitting power. That is a lot of bonus to hit. That's obscene. But the Baelor, is just frustrated with the attacks and trying to defend. So, are we in the Hells? Maybe. But, they're kind of like the generals of the Hells armies here. So this Baelor is going for the end here. The other two may run away if need be. But this Baelor is not running away. Okay. So finishing up that, we move on from Berzerith's turn, ending the turn, and going on to Arakiel, who is going to target Remiel with a healing touch here to try and save him a bit. So with that, we're going to go ahead and use it burns! You are immune to fire. I know what I said! That's pretty good. I like that. Okay, so where is that healing touch? There's the healing touch. Okay. Targets and regains healing. So we're going to go ahead, and actually before we do that, let me just make sure this is actually going to heal, because sometimes they're not set up properly. No, it's not going to. So healing, default, the healing formula is going to be what? This healing touch does 8d8 plus 4. Okay. There we go. Now let's properly heal. This does use an action, unfortunately, but it's going to heal a whole bunch. And that's going to heal, unfortunately, lower than the average, but gives Remiel 34 points of health back. And let's see here, what is he going to do? He's gonna probably stay put as he resets his legendary actions, and we'll hold out and see what happens next. All right, so Arakiel's turn is over. Excuse me. And we're going to move on to Gargazan. Now, Gargazan, I believe, has to recharge his Horror Nimbus. So we'll go ahead and see about that. Recharges on a 5 or 6. Does recharge. So the Horror Nimbus is ready to go. And Gargazan's going to rush over to here, flying up on its weird little wings, and targets Kakabel to see if he can, affect Kakabel with some frightened abilities or whatever. So, targeting Kakabel, we go ahead and use the Horror Nimbus first and see what happens. I didn't hear no bell. Alright, we have the Horror Nimbus with a DC 15 Wisdom save. Unfortunately for Garzan, Kakabel succeeds with a 30. Definitely not frightened. Not going to be afraid of no demon. And then goes in to finish off the multi-attack with 1 bite and 1 claw swipe. That's 1 swat, or 2 swipes, okay. I may have confused that before. But anyways, bite number 1, that's going to be a base 17, total of 27 to hit Cockabell. Does hit Cockabell, dealing 42 points of piercing damage, but it's reduced to 21 because of the whole, you know, damage resistance and whatnot to non-magical weapons. And then we have claw attack number 1. Base 5 is going to miss, and then claw attack number 2. Base 7? Yeah, with a 17 also misses. So Cockabell is still doing good and not wounded. Also, legendary actions can be used whenever a turn ends. Doesn't matter if it's a turn or an ally or foe. Yes, exactly. That is exactly what our Solar here is planning on doing. Now that it's the end of Garzan's turn, Arakiel is going to use Searing Burst on both of these, both of these demons here. Because why not? All right, let's get rid of the targeting there just to be on the safe side. We don't want to cast a spell. We want Searing Burst for 2. Consumes, and what's the range on that? Target, 10-foot radius. Apparently, the Solar emits magical divine energy. Each creature of its choice in a 10-foot radius makes... Oh, right. That's where the confusion was. Okay. So yes, technically, I don't think Arakiel takes any of the damage because it's coming from him. Oh, right. Yeah. It does. Thank you so much, Evil Lord. I completely forgot about that. So the first attack, we'll double check that with another D20 roll just for the heck of it. So let's see here. I'll just roll a straight D20, no extra modifiers. And that will be a, well, that's a natural 20. So that definitely wouldn't have done anything. So we'll just keep it where it is, and it is what it is. So Cockabell needs to make a concentration check. Thank you so much. That's going to be 21 points of damage, reduced in half. So we're going to have it just basically a DC 10, which with its con bonus of plus 12, he succeeds. He just auto succeeds that. He can't not unless he rolls a 1. So we'll just go ahead and have him roll a concentration check. If he gets a 1, he'll lose it. 11. All right, so doesn't lose it, rolls a 23, easily defeats, passes the concentration check of DC 10, and we move on. Yeah, exactly. He doesn't lose it, thankfully. All right, ending round 2. We still have no deaths on either side, but some of them are coming darn close. We start round 3 with Remiel's turn, and Remiel is going to pivot now that Arakiel is here. And we'll go 5 feet to here, 5 feet to there, and uses Arakiel's, sudden presence here to get advantage on the attack for 2 mace attacks. And targets Droken here. Unfortunately, not really going to be able to do too much, but hey, advantage is better than nothing. Base 13, it looks like, total of 21 to hit, and deals 31 bludgeoning and radiant damage, dealing 27 points of damage. And wow, this Droken has a lot of hit points. Just so we can see, at least 147 right now, not to mention what it has at max with 190 on average. Yes, I did forget the legendary action. I'm going to go with what I'm doing right now. We'll just leave it for next, as he will do his legendary actions on the next turn at the end of Remiel's here. And then goes in for attack number 2 with the mace at advantage. Base 18 to hit, another 26, and that will be total 31 damage, reduced to 26 because of the bludgeoning damage, and deals a little bit more damage to Droken. And as Remiel's turn ends, Arakiel will teleport once again over to here for its legendary action, 1 point, and then has 2 more legendary actions to go. All right, up next we have Droken, who is frustrated that Arakiel has moved, but grateful that he is no longer being flanked, and goes in to continue assaulting Remiel. So we're going to have Droken shift to here. The Navasus, being a medium-sized creature, is nuts to me. It's an absolute freakazoid. It really is. I mean, if we look at this artwork, it's absurd. But we're going to go in for those couple attacks here. So first off, we're going to go in for that bite. Oh, it's doing a reaction, which it shouldn't have. But misses Remiel for a total of hit to 14. And then goes in for the claw attack, which is base 13, total of 24 on Remiel. That's going to be 25 force damage, and Remiel is back to its critical state, and then goes in for the soul-stealing gaze. All right, so we have a base of 8 points of damage, and Remiel succeeds once again. So we take no damage here, and once again, these 2 medium demons and angels are just duking it out one after the other here. Yeah, nom nom nom. Exactly. Okay, so the end of Drogon's turn, Arakiel is going to go ahead and use his ability to, to do that whole Searing Burst thing. So we're going to go ahead and use the... I'm not going to worry about that. We're going to put the template right somewhere like here because it should be able to hit the Nalfeshni. As far as I'm concerned, it's going to hit the Nalfeshni. Alright, so total of 16 points of damage. I am reverting the damage on our Solar because he's the one emitting the damage. And Berserith fails with a 17 against a dex save of 23, and Garzan also fails with a 5. They end up taking, let's see here, 10 points, reduced from 16 for Berserith, our fiend, or our Baelor, and our other demon also partially reduces it, by a quarter, only loses quarter of the damage. So, does a little bit, but still, not a whole lot, but hey, legendary action, why not, right? Alright, so we'll go ahead and get rid of that. And that will be Arakiel's turn, and ending Drogon's turn here. No more legendary actions for our Solar, and we go on to Kakabel, who is grateful to see that Arakiel's back, and goes in for the attack. But first, we've got to deal some damage here. So, what was it, 3d10, or how much is that darn damage? Okay. The Fire Aura, it's going to deal 3d6. Very good. Do you smell bacon? Exactly. All right, so 3d6 from the Fire Aura as Kakabel starts his turn, is dealt 14 points of fire damage, and I believe is now bloodied from the fire. But because of the flanking of Arakiel's return, the Solar, Kakabel goes in for a couple more attacks here to try and take out this darn Baelor. Even though the Baelor isn't doing nearly as much damage as I thought it was going to do. So attack number 1 at advantage for flanking, base 19, 31 to hit. That's a big mighty swing, dealing 44 points of radiant and slashing damage, dealing a reduced 33, and then goes in for one more greatsword attack. Okay, so our Baelor's dead, but first we have to do two things. We have to deal at least one round of fire damage to our Solar here. D is dealt 13 points of fire damage. Now the question is, does the Fire Aura still take effect when the creature dies? Yeah, exactly. Every time for the angels. That is nuts. Okay. I'm going to say that... Not Holy Dr. Manhattan. Exactly. I'm going to say that the attack still deals the damage because at the point, the creature was still alive. So for the second attack, he's going to take another 11 points of fire damage. And then the Baelor erupts in the death throes. And the Baelor dies. It explodes, and each creature within 30 feet, including the Nalfeshni, have to make a dexterity saving throw or take 70 points of fire damage on a failed save and half as much on a success. And then everything is ignited, and the Baelor is destroyed. Alright, so let's go ahead and do this Baelor attack here. I don't think we have anything for that, so let's just take a quick look at the details here, because I would like this to do that properly, which it's obviously not going to. So we'll do, let's see here, one special. Special. And then what is the deal here? It is targets within 30 feet. And we're going to say from self. Oops. No, we don't want self. All right, let's just do this. 30 feet. Targets within 30 feet. And they're going to end up taking, what was it? 20d6 fire damage. Oh, man. Oh, that's absurd. Okay, 20d6. That is the total amount of falling damage you can normally take. And the dex save, it's what? Yes, okay, dexterity save. Perfect. Alright, so let's go ahead and mess this up. Let's see what happens here. So, death throws. Baelor is incapacitated. Yes, the Baelor is incapacitated. We'll just give it 1 hit point so it's not incapacitated. Just for the sake of this, we'll do the death throws. Is it doing it? No, it's not setting it up. Okay. So anyways, regardless, 0 hit points here. I was hoping to have something fun, but it's being a pain. Okay. All right, so Gargazan, Kakabel, and Arakiel all have to take a save. 30 feet is all to here. Yeah, the Baylor does go boom, it would seem. Armor of Agathis. My day be so fine, then boom, 2.5 fireballs. Yep. All right, so let's see here. First of all, we're going to do our dex saves. They have to make DC 20 checks. So dex save here, dexterity saving throw. That's going to be a 16 for Nalfeshni, our Gargazan, who's not going to make that save. And then a dex save here is going to be a 17 plus, so that's going to be a 23 and a save from Arakiel. And Kakabel has to make a dex save as well with +5. Natural 20 on that for a total of 25. So our angels succeed the dex save. Gargazan is going to take the full brunt of this attack. This was absurd. 20d6. All right, so let's go ahead and get those 20d6 going. And roll! 20d6, and we have a total of 71 points of damage here. So, let's see here. Gargazan is resistant to fire damage, so everyone takes half. So everyone's taking 35 points of fire damage. He saved his pork. 35 there. Oh, man. Oh, our Planetar almost bit it. And 35 there. Okay. Nice and toasty, yes. All right, so we have our first death in the middle of round 3 here, and Gargazan and Droken are left on the demon side. So, Kakabel's turn is over as he finishes off Berzerith. We have no more legendary actions from Arakiel, so that moves on to Arakiel here, who takes his turn and is going to simply flap over a little bit, get in line, and make a couple attacks on Garzan. And with the flanking position here, this is going to be interesting. Okay, so greatsword attack number 1. At flanking, 15 base to hit, total of 30, dealing 40 points of slashing and radiant. We reduce it just a little bit because of that slashing damage, dealing 31 points of damage to Garzan, who is now bloodied. We then take a second greatsword attack, and base 15, total of 30 again, dealing 49 points of damage, reduced to 37, and Garzan is not looking so hot. And that is the end, as the legendary action points are refreshed, and we move on to Garzan. Let's see here. Garzan's bloodied. The big boy is now, dead. Let's see what Garzan can do. Well, we have nothing in our spellbooks, and we could teleport. That's probably what's going to happen here. Nalfeshni magically teleports along with any equipment it's wearing and is getting out of dodge because 1, he's bloodied, and 2, they are now outnumbered. So, Garzan is teleporting. Let's see here. Get off of that. And teleport. Okay, the Nalfeshni magically teleports and goes 120 feet. So let's see, where will 100... Oh, darn it, there it goes. Ah, yes, the magical effects. That's what I was looking for. All right, so 120 feet is going to be somewhere in there, and we're going to say he teleports inside there, disappears, and is out of here. All that's left now is Droken as we move to the end of round 3 into the top of round 4. Garzan is bloody. The big boy got body, and so he bounced away. Exactly. All right, Arakiel, with all of his legendary actions refreshed, is going to teleport and set up a flanking against Droken, now that we are at the top of round 4. Remiel is taking no sympathy on the demons and will go in for a flanking attack against Droken here, trying to finish off the demons. All right, so attack number 1 at advantage. Oh, let's fix this targeting here real quick. And mace attack number 1 against Droken, who is going to be hit with a total of 19, hitting Droken for 37 points of damage, reduced just barely to 32, and then a second mace attack. All right, base 11, that's going to be a 19 and hits once again for 24 points of damage, reduced to 19 because of the resistance to bludgeoning damage, and Droken is now bloodied as well. That's going to be the end of Remiel's turn, and Droken, before Droken's turn, Arakiel is going to He has 2 points left. Might as well go ahead and make the attack on, make that one crazy attack here. So we're going to go ahead and use the feature for Searing Burst. And target Droken here. So we're going to revert the damage against our Solar, who doesn't take the damage. And with a dex save of 23, Droken succeeds just barely and takes more than half, less than half damage, and is reduced all the way down to an 8, but still is able to dodge out of the way of the Fire and Radiant Burst from our Solar. All right, so we'll go ahead and remove that. It's 1 versus 1. Don't interrupt. Nice, name will be taken. Really funny. Hair Doctor, demons, can you stand still for 5 seconds? Solar, no, I don't think I will. For real, for real. Okay, and now that's the end of Remul's turn. At the top of round 4, we go to Droken. Let's see what Droken can do, shall we? Droken here has Devour Soul, Demonic Shadows. Oh yes, we forgot about the whole Shadows thing. Not like it really matters all that much. But they can fly 60 feet. Everything can fly, so it's just a matter of being chased down. And honestly, this demon is pretty much toast. He'll go for a couple attacks and try to take out Remul. We'll see what happens. And then Cockabell and Oracle are just going to jump on him, to be honest. All right, so Droken's going to go in for a couple more attacks, just lashing out in a craze, and tries to finish off Remul. Okay, so claw attack, or the bite first on Remul. It's going to be base 3 to hit, total 14, misses with the bite attack, which was probably one of the heavier attacks. Goes in next for the claw attack, fails with a 12, because of that bloodied state, really is pretty bad. And then goes in for the soul-stealing gaze, which more than likely isn't going to do anything. Yes, unfortunately, Remul succeeds once again. All 3 attacks do nothing against Remul, and this Droken is, well, officially broken. And the Droken finishes up. Cockabell comes in to do some cleanup work, flies on over, and just comes in with a couple just great sword attacks against Droken. Attack number 1 is going to be a base 5, total of 17, misses. Ooh, I love that animation. And then a second attack tries to hit Droken as, once again, 7. Oh, this time does hit Droken for 32 points of damage, reduced to 23, and then we will finish off round 4 here with Arakiel, who is going to also just beat down on Droken here. Let's see something real quick, because we have the Slaying Longbow. What's that? Plus 13 to hit, plus 15 to hit. We'll just do the greatsword attacks. Better chance of finishing off Droken, and we have the advantage here. So we'll go ahead and attack Droken with the greatsword attacks, and Arakiel is going to hopefully finish us off with flanking. We have a base 6 to hit, total of 21, does hit Droken for a total 44 points of damage, reduced to 34, and we have a sliver of health here. 5 hit points left. And let's see, what does Arakiel do? Well, Arakiel is going to go in, obviously, and go in for that last greatsword attack. At advantage, we have a base 7, total of 22, and finishes off Droken for 62 points of damage, reduced to, I don't know. It was enough to finish off Droken, and that is the end of our Angels vs. Demons here on the Monster vs. Monster video for the D&D CR Exposed YouTube channel. Our Angels have won the day, and let's take a look at the polls to see who thought what was going to happen here. So it looks like, as we end the poll, Angels got 63% of the votes. The Super Soldier Kobold had 36% of the votes, and no one voted for the Demons. So everyone wins this, even though the Super Soldier Kobold hasn't quite gotten down here yet. They're still kind of rushing in with their slow pace because our Angels can fly super fast. You know how it goes. And yeah, that is another win for our Angels here as they defeated the Demons, although Garzan was able to escape and probably get into the, the Bastion here to warn what other demons and fiends lay within. And no votes for the Demons. The greatsword animation just reminds me of the Tom and Jerry frying pan. It really does. It's absurd how massive that attack swing is, and the animation. It's so much fun. All right, well, that is it for this. The Kobold is sniping Garzan. Hopefully. All right, so now that we have our combat ended here, let's get into the business just a little bit here. The Virtual tabletop here is Foundry. I love Foundry. I always use it. Moved from, Roll20 to Foundry, and I'm not looking back. If you can afford the $50 investment, and that's all you need to get all of these features and more, I highly advise it. The battle map here of this lava gate here, which I use to represent the Demons and Hells levels, this bastion, is from Ches and Peku. You can get that in the link below at patreon.com/Ches and Peku. Names were created by fantasynamegenerator.com, and music is from YouTube. It's a free resource, so there's that. And again, I have no affiliations with any of these. I just believe in all of their work, and I use them because I like them. So thank you all so very much for joining, and as for next Monday's Monster vs. Monster game, the little bit of a teaser is that it's under the sea. Under the sea. This next battle will be taking us far under the sea. So there you go. We have a Under the Sea battle for next Monday's Monster vs. Monster game, and we should also be playing the Ever Side Questers 1 D&D livestream campaign tomorrow. So if you have the time and would like to watch 1 D&D in action of the playtest material and packets, please come stop by tomorrow at 6 p.m. Again, same time, Eastern Daylight Time, and join us there as the adventurers, the Ever Side Questers, continue their journeys deeper into the jungle in search of the Bonnie Bard's treasures. Lobsters versus crabs? Maybe. Who knows? Next time there will be some wet works. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me. This is me, Andrew, as always, thanking everyone who's been here the entire game. You guys have been so awesome. Herr Doctor, name will be taken. Evil Lord Gravy. Let's see here. Who else do we got? Think I gotta scroll up a little bit just to double check some names. Kamen FD, you were there. Thank you so much. Tom Relton as well. Thank you for stopping by. You guys are awesome as always. And if you've watched the video on demand later on in the future, thank you so much for watching. You guys have been helping out the channel so much. It's super appreciated, and I appreciate all of your help. So as always, this is me, Andrew, asking the question: are your encounters even rated? Good night, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Thank you so much for hanging out, and I'll see you all tomorrow.